Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. You know, we talk a lot about personal growth on this show, and I think it's safe to say we're all kind of on that journey in our own ways, right?
Generally, yeah.
And today we're taking a deep dive
Sure.
into a concept called soul algorithms. Have you heard about this?
I have. It's pretty fascinating stuff.
It sounds kind of
I
techy
was
for talking about our soul, so I'm very curious
definitely.
to get into it.
Yeah.
So basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's this idea that like our unconscious patterns,
Yeah.
the stuff we don't even realize we're doing,
Yeah.
could be like running on these algorithms in
Yeah.
the background. Is
That's
that
a great way to put it. Yeah.
the basic idea?
Yeah. It's like, you know how we talk about computer algorithms
Right.
and how they determine like how things work, how apps function, all of that.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of saying that there's a similar thing going on
Yeah.
at a deeper level, an energetic level with our souls.
Wow, okay. So where does this idea even come from?
It comes from a shamanic practitioner named Jon Rasmussen.
Okay.
He's done a lot of work in this area, and I think he explains it really well.
Okay, so Jon Rasmussen, a shamanic practitioner, is saying that essentially our souls have like code, like ones and zeros.
In a sense, yeah. I mean, it's not literal ones and zeros, but it's like this energetic blueprint or a pattern
Okay.
that influences
Okay.
how we think, how we feel, how we act, the experiences we have, all of that.
That's a lot. That's a big claim.
It is. It is. But when you start to really look at your life and you start to see these recurring patterns, I think it becomes a lot more clear that there might be something to this.
So it's not just like we're talking about like bad habits. This is like
It can be bad habits, but it's deeper than that.
Okay. Okay.
It's like, you know, those core beliefs you have about yourself or about the world, the things that you may not even realize
Yeah.
are running the show.
Okay. So give me an example.
Okay, sure. So let's say, for example, you keep attracting the same kind of partner
Okay. Yeah.
over and over again.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
and it's not
The wrong kind.
the wrong kind, right?
Yeah. Been there.
Yeah, so that could be a sign that there's a soul algorithm
Okay.
at play that's drawing that in. And it might be connected to, you know, past experiences, maybe even going back to your childhood where you
Yeah.
learn certain things about relationships or about yourself.
So how do we even begin to? I mean, if we're talking about something that's like almost like hardwired
Yeah.
into us, how do we even begin to like identify that and then change it?
Right. Well, that's where shamanic energy medicine can be really helpful
Okay.
because it works on that energetic level.
Okay.
It helps us to kind of see those patterns, to understand where they're coming from,
Uh-huh.
and then to start to shift them.
So it's like, I don't know, like rewiring.
It is. It's like rewiring, yeah.
Okay, so how would a shamanic practitioner actually go about like, I don't know, helping somebody rewrite their soul algorithm?
Well, they use a variety of techniques. One common one is soul retrieval.
Okay.
And that's, you know, we're not going to get into all the details of it, but essentially it's about
Right.
retrieving parts of yourself that you may have lost or fragmented
Wow.
along the way due to trauma or difficult experiences.
Okay.
Another technique is cord cutting,
Cord cutting, yeah.
which is, it's about kind of severing those energetic ties
Okay.
to people or situations that are no longer serving you.
Interesting.
So these are just a couple of examples. But the key thing is that shamanic energy medicine works at that deeper level to help us to change those patterns.
So for somebody listening right now who's like, okay, this is a lot. Where do I even start? Like what's the first step if I'm interested in this
Yeah.
idea of soul algorithms?
Yeah, well, I think the first step is really just awareness.
Okay.
You know, start paying attention to those recurring patterns in your life. Things that keep coming up, the
Yeah.
relationships, the situations, the thoughts, the belief, the behaviors.
Yeah.
And just notice them without judgment.
Okay.
To say, that's interesting. That's happening again.
There's that same thought.
Yeah, there's that same thought, there's that same pattern.
Yeah.
And just by bringing awareness to it, you're already starting to loosen its grip on you.
So you're saying just that act of noticing
Yeah.
can actually start to make a change?
It can. Because what happens is when we're unconscious of these patterns, they have power over us.
They're just running in the background.
They're running the show. Exactly.
Yeah.
But when we bring awareness to them, when we shine a light on them,
Right.
we start to have a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
We can decide, do I want to keep running this pattern or am I ready for something different?
So it's almost like by becoming aware of it, it gives us that little bit of distance
Exactly.
to then make a decision.
Yes, exactly.
And potentially change it.
That's right. That's where the real power lies.
That's so fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's almost like, even if somebody listening, even if they don't necessarily resonate with the idea of shamanism
Yeah.
or energy medicine or whatever, just that idea of like, okay, what are the patterns in my life?
Yeah.
What are the things that keep happening?
Absolutely.
And then asking yourself, do I want to keep doing this?
Right. Yeah.
That in and of itself is a really powerful, I think, takeaway.
I agree. I think that's a really great takeaway for people.
So maybe that's something to think about this week
Yeah.
as you're going about your day.
Yeah.
Just kind of noticing those patterns and seeing if you can start to identify some of those soul algorithms that might be running in the background.
Absolutely. And if you do decide that you want to explore this further, there's a lot of great information out there about shamanic energy medicine
Yeah, definitely.
and ways to connect with practitioners.
Yeah, and maybe that's something we can dive into in a future episode.
I'd love that.
All right. Well, it's been fascinating talking about soul algorithms today.
Yeah, likewise, it's been a really interesting conversation.
I always love getting into these kind of like deeper,
Yeah.
more esoteric topics
Yeah.
that, they can really help us understand ourselves
Absolutely.
on a whole other level.
Yeah.
So for everyone listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive,
Yes, thank you.
and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.